Taffy is a Great Western engine. She is always happy to be helpful, and is always ready to be real useful. One day, Taffy was shunting freight cars at Hawkins shunting yards. She was clearing them away so that the other engines could fetch coaches for their passengers. Taffy likes shunting. She always enjoyed keeping freight cars in order. She biffed them hard, but only when they were at their most troublesome behavior. Oof! Ow! Miss Edwards arrived just as Digby came to collect his coaches. Ah, Taffy, I would like you to collect all of these freight cars, and some more from Quincy Yard, and take the whole lot to the harbor at the end of the main line. They are needed there to load cargo from an arriving ship. Of course, Miss Edwards. Always happy to do my job. Splendid. Do a good job, Taffy. And Miss Edwards went to her office. But the freight cars that Taffy had to take away were not happy to work with her at all. She is mean. She is rough. She's been bumping us like we've done something to her. But not to worry. We will show that she is not so tough. Soon Taffy had all of her freight cars coupled up together, and she pulled them away and out of the shunting yards. But the freight cars were going smoothly to give Happy Taffy a false sense of security. Taffy pulled her freight cars along the main line, and then changed tracks towards Quincy Yard. She was feeling quite jolly. The sun was shining, birds were singing, and children were scampering around playing hide-and-seek and leapfrog. The freight cars were still making their plan and waited for the right moment to cause trouble. Soon Taffy arrived at Quincy Yard. Heather was there. She had shunted some more freight cars firmly into place for Taffy to collect. These freight cars are being quite troublesome, Taffy. You best be careful. Alright, I'll make sure of that, Heather. Thank you. And Taffy steamed away. The freight cars were all now making a plan to spoil Taffy's happiness. Soon, they were on their way to Tanfield Harbor. Taffy had to pull them along the main line. As she puffed along, the freight cars decided to cause Taffy trouble as they passed a local school. The children were waving to Taffy as she passed by. As Taffy whistled hello, the freight cars screamed and sang, "Hold back! Hold back!" They all jerked backwards at once, and Taffy bumped. Oof! The children were surprised, and so was Taffy. Hey! Stop that, you lot, or I will have to biff you. The freight cars didn't appreciate this. They decided to have another go further on. As Taffy left the school, she was heading on her way to pass the scrapyard. The freight cars decided to cause some more mischief here. They giggled quietly. At the scrapyard, Kyle was delivering scrap metal, and the workmen were unloading his freight cars. Then there was trouble. As Taffy puffed up to the junction, she knew she had to wait for the cinnamon to change the switches so she could go straight on and past the scrapyard. But the freight cars suddenly surged forwards. On! 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 Oh no! Taffy, stop! But Taffy couldn't stop in time. Luckily, no one was hurt, but Taffy's funnel was dented. Her paintwork was a mess, and her freight cars were laughing at her. Taffy wasn't a very happy engine anymore. She'd had such a good start of the day and had tried her best to be real useful, but now her carelessness with the freight cars had made her cause an accident. Kyle could see that Taffy was unhappy. Don't worry, Taffy. This sort of trouble can happen to any engine, especially when they're in high spirits. I suppose you're right, Kyle. But what am I to do now? My funnel is damaged. I won't be able to control the smoke very well. I'll pull you to the harbor. I can leave my freight cars here while the workman unloads them. Thank you, Kyle. So while the workman unloaded the freight cars and collected the dropped scrap metal, Kyle buffered up in front of Taffy and her now subservient freight cars as they knew they couldn't outdo the two engines. Then he and Taffy shunted them slowly up the main line until they arrived at Tanfield Harbor. Miss Edwards was there. She had heard from the scrapyard manager what had happened. Well done, Kyle. Taffy, I know you've had an unfortunate afternoon, but I am sure you will soon be as good as new and back to being the happy and real useful engine we all know and love. Everybody at the harbor agreed. Taffy smiled. She couldn't be sad about her accident anymore. Yes, ma'am. I soon will. And as Taffy was taken to the engine works to have her funnel repaired, she knew that even when her good days could have bad incidents, she would always have her friends to make her happy once more.